Africa does not simply wake beneath the sun, it rises like an ancient giant breathing fire across the horizon. Here the land speaks before any creature dares to move. The Sahara burns in golden silence where the wind carves secrets into endless dunes. The Serengeti trembles beneath millions of hooves, a living river of fear, hunger, and survival. The Okavango glows like a hidden mirror in the wilderness where water gives life and shadows wait to take it back. From the red deserts of Namibia to the storm-dark forests of the Congo, every landscape carries a question older than mankind itself. Who will endure when nature decides to test the living? This is a continent of contrasts, beauty and brutality, stillness and violence, birth and disappearance. The grasslands cradle newborn life, yet hide the eyes of hunters. The rivers glitter like silver roads, yet beneath them death can move without a sound. The mountains stand like stone guardians, watching generations rise, fall, and vanish into dust. In Africa, the lion does not merely rule. He carries the weight of a fading crown. The elephant does not merely walk, she remembers roads older than empires. The cheetah does not merely run, it races against time itself. And every heartbeat, every footprint, every cry in the night becomes part of a greater story. A story written not with ink, but with instinct. So what is Africa truly? A kingdom, a battlefield, a sacred theater where life and death perform beneath the same sun. Step closer, listen deeper. Because these lands are not just places on a map, they are living legends. Welcome to nature's animals. In Africa, survival is not given. It is earned step by step, breath by breath, fear by fear. Across this ancient continent, the land itself seems alive. The sun does not simply rise, it judges. The wind does not simply pass, it carries. The rivers do not simply flow, they remember every life that dared to cross them. From the golden grasslands of the Serengeti to the dust-choked plains where herds move like living storms to the shrinking waterholes where giants gather beneath a burning sky, every landscape asks the same ancient question. What does it truly take to survive? Is survival born from power? From speed, from memory, from family, or from the courage to fail, rise, and continue? To find the answer, we follow 3 lives across the wild heart of Africa. Three animals, three fears, three lessons written not in words but in dust, hunger, water and bloodline. The first is a lion cub. Tiny, uncertain, and still far from the throne, the lion cub carries the future of a kingdom inside a fragile body. One day it may become a ruler of the Savannah. But today it is only a student of survival. Every failed chase, every misstep, every awkward lesson beneath the watchful eyes of the pride becomes part of its education. A lion cub is not born as a king. It is shaped by failure. In the open grasslands, hunting is not instinct alone. It is science written through muscle, timing, and experience. Lions rely on coordination, stealth, explosive acceleration, and learned judgment. But for a cub, these skills do not arrive fully formed. They are earned through mistakes. The cub must learn when to wait, when to move, when to follow, and when to stop. Its greatest fear is not the enemy outside the pride. Its greatest fear is failure itself. Because in the wild, failure is not embarrassing. Failure is dangerous. A missed lesson can mean hunger. A wrong movement can expose weakness. A cub that does not learn quickly may never grow into the title it was born to inherit. And yet this is where Africa reverses our first belief. We imagine kings as creatures of certainty, proud, dominant, untouchable. But every lion once stumbled. Every roar began as a small, uncertain cry. Every ruler of the savannah first had to survive the humiliation of not knowing how. The lion cub teaches us that greatness does not begin with power. It begins with failure. It begins with falling behind, watching again, trying again, and slowly becoming worthy of the future. Because even a king begins in weakness. Even kings begin with failure. Even a throne begins in dust. Even the ruler of the savannah must first learn how to miss. But beyond the pride, another fear moves across Africa, not the fear of becoming, but the fear of losing. The zebra is one of the most recognizable animals on the continent. At first glance, it may seem ordinary, a striped grazer among millions, a background figure in the grand theater of predators. But this is one of Africa's great illusions. The zebra is not weak. The zebra is endurance in motion. Across open plains and dangerous river systems, zebras survive through disciplined memory, herd awareness, and relentless movement. Their stripes confuse the eye. Their powerful legs can deliver devastating kicks. Their social bonds help them detect danger before it strikes. But none of these strengths can erase the deepest fear carried by a mother zebra, the fear of losing her foal. On the banks of a deadly river, that fear becomes real. The water appears to offer passage, but beneath the surface waits another world, silent, patient, ancient. A river crossing is never just a movement from one bank to another. It is a trial. A place where panic can break a herd, where the young can be swept away, where the strongest current is not always the water, but fear itself. For the zebra, survival is not dramatic in the way we expect. It is not built on claws. It is not crowned with teeth. It is not announced by a roar. It is built on persistence. Science reveals the zebra's body as a machine of endurance. Strong lungs, powerful muscles, alert senses, and social instincts designed for life under constant threat. But emotion reveals something deeper. A zebra mother does not simply move with the herd. She watches, waits, returns, listens, and protects. Her body may be built for running, but her heart is tied to the smallest life beside her. This is the second reversal of Africa. We often think prey animals live only in fear, but the zebra shows us that fear can become discipline. Fear can become attention. Fear can become the force that keeps a family together when the world is trying to tear it apart. The zebra does not survive because it has no fear. It survives because it knows exactly what fear can cost. And when the river rises, when the crocodiles wait, when the herd surges forward and the young struggle to keep pace, the zebra's story becomes painfully clear. The greatest fear is not death. The greatest fear is losing a child. In Africa, survival is not only the ability to escape. Sometimes survival is the refusal to abandon what you love. And then beyond the river, beyond the grasslands, beneath a sky cracked by heat, the giants appear. The African elephant. At first sight, it seems impossible that such a creature could fear anything. Its body is a moving fortress. Its tusks are weapons carved by time. Its footsteps make the ground tremble. Even lions hesitate when a herd of elephants turns to face them. Here stands one of the most powerful land animals on Earth, massive, intelligent, emotional, and ancient. But Africa never gives power without a weakness. The elephant's strength is not only in its size, it is in memory, it is in family. It is in the wisdom of matriarchs who remember old pathways, hidden water sources, lost seasons and dangers that younger elephants have never seen. In a dry land, memory is not nostalgia. Memory is survival. But the elephant's deepest fear is not the lion. It is not even the predator in the shadows. It is loss. The loss of water, the loss of a calf, the loss of a family member, the loss of safe land beneath human pressure. In times of drought, the giant becomes vulnerable. A body this large needs water, vegetation, space, and movement. When rivers shrink and waterholes dry, the elephant's power becomes a burden. The same massive body that makes it dominant also demands enormous resources. And when calves grow weak, when the herd must keep moving, when old roots disappear, the emotional weight of survival becomes almost unbearable. This is where science and emotion meet most deeply. Elephants are not simple giants. They are social minds. They recognize voices. They comfort one another. They mourn. They protect calves in the center of the herd. They respond to distress with touch, sound, and presence. Their survival is not individual, it is collective. One elephant is powerful, but a herd is a living wall. A herd is memory with legs. A herd is a family refusing to disappear. And here comes Africa's third reversal. We look at the elephant and see strength, but the elephant teaches us that strength is not domination. Strength is responsibility. Strength is carrying the young through drought. Strength is remembering the path when the land has changed. Strength is standing together when the world becomes smaller, hotter, and more dangerous. The elephant does not ask to rule Africa. It asks only to remain part of it. Yet today, survival for elephants is no longer decided by predators alone. It is shaped by drought, shrinking habitats, conflict with humans, and the long shadow of poaching. Their battle is not just ancient, it is modern. It is not only a fight against hunger or thirst, it is a fight against disappearance. And perhaps this is why the elephant feels so powerful on screen. Not because it is invincible, but because it carries the sadness of a giant that knows what loss means. The lion cub fears failure. The zebra fears losing her young. The elephant fears the collapse of family water and memory. Three animals, three fears, three truths of Africa. The cub teaches us that greatness is not born fully formed. It grows through failure. The zebra teaches us that endurance is not weakness. It is love under pressure. The elephant teaches us that true power is not standing alone. It is protecting the family until the final breath. Across Africa, every species carries a hidden wound. The predator hides fear beneath confidence. The prey hides courage beneath panic. The giant hides vulnerability beneath power. And in that reversal, nature becomes more than a battlefield. It becomes a mirror. Because we too fear failure. We too fear losing those we love. We too fear that one day the paths we trusted may disappear. That is why Africa feels so ancient and so personal at the same time. It speaks through animals, but it tells a human truth. Survival is never only about being the strongest. Sometimes it is about learning, sometimes it is about protecting. Sometimes it is about remembering where to go when the world has become dry and unforgiving. So who deserves to survive in this wild kingdom? The future king who keeps learning after every failure, the striped mother who refuses to leave her young behind, or the giant herd that turns memory into a shield against extinction. Perhaps the answer is not one animal. Perhaps the answer is the cycle itself. Because in Africa, life does not reward pride alone. It rewards adaptation, it rewards unity, it rewards patience, memory, courage, and love. The throne of nature does not belong to the strongest body, but to the strongest will to continue. And as the sun sinks behind the grasslands, as dust rises around the herds, as rivers darken and elephants move like shadows across the horizon, one truth remains. In the wild, survival is not a crown. It is a burden. It is a lesson. It is a promise passed from one generation to the next. If this journey moved you, stay with us. In the next story we will follow another creature, another fear, and another hidden truth from the wild heart of Africa. Instead, his survival depends on something far more fragile and far more powerful: staying with the herd. As twilight settles across the grasslands and the aging lion disappears into the shadows, a distant sound begins to rise from the horizon. At first it resembles the rumble of distant thunder, but there are no storm clouds in the sky. The sound grows louder, deeper, and more relentless until the earth itself seems to tremble beneath the weight of countless hooves. A river is moving across Serengeti, yet this river is made not of water but of life. This is the migration of the wildebeest. More than 1.2 million wildebeest, accompanied by hundreds of thousands of zebras and gazelles, participate in what scientists consider the largest terrestrial migration on Earth. Every year, these remarkable animals travel nearly 1,000 kilometers across Tanzania and Kenya in search of fresh grass created by seasonal rains. Unlike the lion, whose power comes from dominance, the wildebeest survives through endurance. An adult wildebeest can weigh between 180 and 250 kilograms and maintain steady movement for extraordinary distances, yet its greatest weapon is neither speed nor strength. Its greatest weapon is unity. One morning, as the herd approaches a swollen river, a young calf hesitates at the muddy bank. The water churns with powerful currents. Beneath the surface, enormous Nile crocodiles wait in complete silence, some exceeding 5 meters in length and weighing more than 700 kilograms. Around the calf, thousands of bodies surge forward like a living tide. Instinct urges him to follow. Fear tells him to stay behind. For a moment, he stands alone. In nature, isolation is often the first step toward disaster. The calf finally leaps. The river explodes into chaos as hooves strike water. Mothers call for their young crocodiles, launch upward from the depths, and survival hangs on decisions measured in seconds. Many will cross safely, some will not. Yet despite the danger, the migration continues because stopping is often more dangerous than moving forward. Humans know this feeling well. We fear being left behind by our peers, separated from our families, excluded from our communities, or abandoned during difficult times. The wildebeest lives with this fear every day. Its greatest enemy is not always the predator hiding in the grass. Often its greatest enemy is distance itself. The lion teaches us that power cannot stop time. The wildebeest teaches us that weakness can become strength when individuals stand together. Because survival is rarely achieved alone. Survival is built through connection, through persistence, and through the courage to keep moving even when fear whispers that the journey is impossible. As the endless herd disappears beyond another horizon following rains, they cannot see and destinations they cannot fully understand, the wildebeest leaves behind a lesson written across the plains of Africa. The strongest force in nature is not dominance, but unity. And sometimes the difference between life and death is simply refusing to face the world alone. Stretching across endless golden grasslands beneath an ever-changing African sky, Serengeti is more than a destination. It is nature's greatest theater, where millions of animals move together in a rhythm older than human history itself. Here, powerful lions patrol territories they must constantly defend, not only against rivals, but against time itself. Here, vast herds of wildebeest surge across the plains like living rivers, driven by an instinct so ancient that even science struggles to fully explain it. Here, vast herds of wildebeest surge across the plains like living rivers, driven by an instinct so ancient that even science struggles to fully explain it. Here, elephants carry generations of memories across the landscape, while hyenas navigate a world where intelligence can be just as important as strength. What makes this place so captivating is not simply the animals that live here, but the fears that shape their lives. The lion fears losing its kingdom. The wildebeest fears becoming separated from the herd. The elephant fears losing those it loves. And the hyena fears being cast aside by its own clan. And perhaps that is why Serengeti feels so familiar, because beneath our differences, we share many of the same struggles. Like these animals, we pursue goals while fearing failure, protect what we love while fearing loss, and move toward uncertain futures while searching for our place in the world. Tonight we journey into a land where every footprint tells a story. Every hunt reveals a lesson, and every survival carries a deeper meaning. Welcome to Serengeti, one of the greatest wildernesses on Earth, and welcome to nature's animals. The lion is often called the king of the savannah. But what if the greatest threat to a king is not an enemy but time itself? As the first golden rays of morning spread across the endless grasslands of Serengeti, an aging male lion rises from the dust. His mane, once dark and imposing like a storm cloud gathering on the horizon, now carries the pale marks of countless seasons. Nearby lionesses prepare for another hunt, while playful cubs chase one another through the tall grass, unaware that the ruler watching over them is fighting a battle far more dangerous than any confrontation with rivals. For years he has dominated this territory. At his peak he could weigh more than 250 kilograms, unleash a roar heard up to 8 kilometers away, and command a pride whose survival depended upon his strength. To the outside world he appears invincible, yet nature sees something different. Nature sees a clock that never stops ticking. African lions are among the most powerful predators on Earth. Adult males possess extraordinary muscular strength, powerful jaws capable of generating bite forces exceeding 650 psi, and the social advantage of living within organized prides. Unlike many large cats, lions rely heavily on cooperation. Females hunt together, defend cubs together, and raise the next generation together. This social structure has helped lions remain one of Africa's most successful predators for thousands of years. Yet beneath this image of power lies a hidden fear. Scientific studies show that male lions typically hold control of a pride for only 2 to 4 years before younger challengers arrive. Every scar across a lion's face tells the same story. Every broken canine tooth whispers the same warning. Every sunrise brings him one day closer to the moment when strength begins to fade. One evening, as dust drifts across the plains like smoke from an ancient fire, a distant roar echoes through the darkness. It does not belong to him. Somewhere beyond the horizon, younger males are approaching. The sound rolls across the grasslands like a declaration from nature itself. A new generation is coming. Humans understand this fear more than we often realize. A business leader fears losing the company he spent decades building. An athlete fears the day younger competitors run faster. A parent fears becoming unable to protect those they love. The lion's struggle is not merely about territory. It is about responsibility, identity, and the painful realization that no position of power lasts forever. This truth becomes even more significant when viewed through the lens of conservation. A century ago, an estimated 200,000 lions roamed across Africa's vast landscapes. Today, fewer than 25,000 remain in the wild. Habitat loss, conflict with humans, and declining prey populations continue to reduce their numbers. The king of beasts is no longer fighting only rival lions, he is fighting for the future of his species. Perhaps that is why the lion remains one of nature's most compelling symbols. We admire his strength, but we relate to his vulnerability. We celebrate his victories, but we understand his fears. Because the greatest lesson of the lion is not that power conquers all things. The greatest lesson is that true greatness is measured by how we carry our responsibilities while we still have the strength to do so. In the Serengeti, the king still walks beneath the African sun, his shadow stretching across the grasslands like a fading crown. Yet his story reminds us that even the mightiest ruler cannot defeat time, and that courage is not the absence of fear, but the decision to keep moving forward despite it. Yet while the lion fears losing his kingdom, another traveler of the Serengeti faces a very different challenge. Because survival is rarely achieved alone. Survival is built through connection, through persistence, and through the courage to keep moving even when fear whispers that the journey is impossible. Yet every great migration leaves something behind. As the endless columns of wildebeests disappear into the distance and the thunder of hooves slowly fades across the Serengeti, another figure emerges from the shadows left in their wake. This is the spotted hyena. Few animals in Africa have been judged more harshly, and perhaps few animals have been understood less. For generations, the hyena has been portrayed as nature's thief, a coward lurking at the edge of danger, waiting for others to do the difficult work. Its eerie calls echo through the darkness like laughter, reinforcing a reputation built more on myth than reality. One evening, shortly after a river crossing, a young wildebeest becomes separated from the safety of the herd. Exhausted and vulnerable, it wanders through the fading light, searching for familiar calls. Not far away, a clan of hyenas watches in silence. There is no reckless charge, no mindless aggression. Instead, the group begins to coordinate. One moves left, another circles wide. A third quietly blocks the escape route. What unfolds resembles less a mob and more a military operation. Science reveals a surprising truth. Spotted hyenas are among the most intelligent carnivores on Earth. Studies suggest their problem-solving abilities rival those of some primates, and their social complexity often exceeds that of many large predators. A single clan may contain more than 80 individuals organized within intricate social hierarchies that require memory, communication, cooperation, and strategic thinking. Female hyenas dominate males, making them one of the few large mammal societies led almost entirely by females. Physically, they are equally impressive. Adult spotted hyenas can weigh between 45 and 80 kilograms and possess one of the strongest bite forces among mammals, exceeding 1/100 psi in some measurements. Their jaws can crush bones that lions often leave behind, extracting nutrients that would otherwise return unused to the earth. In many regions of Africa, scientific observations show that hyenas obtain the majority of their food through active hunting rather than scavenging, achieving hunting success rates that frequently rival or surpass those of lions. Yet despite these remarkable abilities, the hyena lives beneath a shadow it cannot escape. As darkness settles across the plains and the clan's haunting calls drift beneath a sky filled with stars, the spotted hyena leaves behind a lesson older than civilization itself. Never mistake appearance for truth, because nature's most misunderstood creatures are often among its most extraordinary. Yet as the haunting calls of the hyenas slowly dissolve into the African night, and the vast Serengeti settles beneath a sky crowded with stars, another figure begins to emerge from the darkness. Yet as the laughter of the hyenas fades into the African night and the stars reclaim the sky above the Serengeti, another presence begins to emerge from the darkness. Unlike the lion that rules through power, the wildebeest that survives through unity, or the hyena that triumphs through intelligence, this animal seems to carry something far older. It walks not like a predator seeking opportunity, nor like prey fleeing danger, but like a living memory moving across the landscape itself. This is the African elephant, and if the lion is the king of the savannah, then the elephant is its ancient historian. As dawn breaks over the plains, a young elephant calf struggles to keep pace with its family. The journey is long, the heat relentless, and the nearest water source lies many kilometers away. Around the calf, enormous adults move with calm determination, their massive feet pressing deep impressions into the earth, as though the land itself recognizes their passage. The matriarch leads from the front, not because she is the strongest, but because she remembers. She remembers rivers that flowed decades ago. She remembers droughts that claimed entire landscapes. She remembers paths invisible to younger generations. Science confirms what the savannah has known for centuries. African elephants possess some of the most extraordinary memories in the animal kingdom. Adult females can remember seasonal water sources across territories spanning thousands of square kilometers, and can recognize the calls of dozens, sometimes hundreds of other elephants. Their brains weigh approximately 4.5 to 5 kilograms, making them the largest brains of any land animal on Earth. Yet intelligence alone does not define them. An adult African elephant can stand nearly 4 meters tall at the shoulder and weigh between 4,000 and 6,500 kilograms, making it the largest land animal alive today. Its trunk contains more than 40,000 individual muscles, allowing it to uproot trees with tremendous force or gently lift a newborn calf with remarkable precision. Such strength appears almost unstoppable, but nature often hides vulnerability beneath greatness. One afternoon, the calf suddenly falls behind. The herd continues moving. Dust rises. Distance grows. For a brief moment, the young elephant disappears from view. Immediately, the atmosphere changes. The mother stops. The matriarch turns. The entire family responds. What had seemed like a collection of individuals suddenly becomes something else entirely. They form a living shield around the missing calf, communicating through low-frequency rumbles that travel several kilometers across the landscape. The savannah itself seems to carry their concern. In that moment, their greatest fear becomes visible. Not death, not hunger, not predators. Researchers have documented elephants displaying behaviors remarkably similar to grief. Families have been observed remaining beside deceased relatives for hours, sometimes days, gently touching bones with their trunks years after death. They recognize absence. They remember relationships. They mourn. And perhaps that is why elephants feel so familiar. Humans build homes, friendships, and families because we fear losing those we love. Elephants do the same. Humans carry memories of people who shaped our lives long after they are gone. Elephants appear to do the same. The largest animal on land is driven not by domination but by connection. Yet this story carries a warning. At the beginning of the 20th century, Africa supported several million elephants. Today, only around 400,000 remain in the wild. Habitat fragmentation, human conflict, and poaching for ivory continue to threaten populations across the continent. The giant that once seemed eternal is now fighting for its future. And so, as the sun begins to sink beyond the Serengeti and the elephant family disappears into the golden horizon, a deeper truth slowly emerges from the stories of all four animals we have followed. The lion taught us that power cannot defeat time. As the final light fades across the African horizon, the stories of the lion, wildebeest, hyena, and elephant leave us with a timeless truth. Survival is not measured by strength alone, but by resilience, unity, wisdom, and love. In the wild, every journey carries a lesson and every life leaves a legacy. The animals of Africa remind us that true greatness lies not in conquering others, but in enduring, adapting, and protecting what matters most. Thank you for joining us on this journey through nature's animals. Yet while the lion fears losing his kingdom, another traveler of the Serengeti faces a very different challenge. He does not rule territory. He does not command respect through strength. He does not roar across the plains to announce his presence.